Welcome back to Threshold of Revelation. This is session 5, entitled Balhannoth of Bemenoth. It makes sense to me, that's the important part. Last session, the group delved into the northern cave of Bemenoth and also found some cool things inside of it. And then they also quested into the middle cave and dealt with some creatures known as chokers, a Dungeons and Dragons classic. They destroyed the creatures, and we left off right there. After the last one is knocked from the ceiling, you kind of look around the area. You can see that the floor is kind of littered with small piles of kind of gross matter, kind of a greenish brownish color. It looks like it mainly kind of stirs around this little hole in the ground. And it does look like there are bits and parts of the remnants of creatures, kind of the bones, mostly broke open, kind of laying about on the ground. Looks like this is their den. That said, looks like the cave does continue to proceed up northwards. The cave in question does look like it narrows at a point, and the ceiling kind of lowers a little bit. As I mentioned last time, the ceilings are about 10 foot high here. Looks like it kind of lowers to about 7 foot. So the Goliath would have to crouch down, but
I have to make sure Uther's
yeah,
watching his head.
most everyone should be okay. But yeah, if you'd like.
Anything going on in that pile of refuse that's noteworthy? Is it just leavings or?
Yeah, it looks like leavings. In the pit, you can see that there are remnants of leather armor. Looks like a broken sword. You can kind of make out the parts that would not be considered edible of a bandit, a White Sander bandit, inside.
Are these the guys that we saw at the entrance of the cave? Okay.
Yeah, and you would
They were
know.
White Sanders? I thought they were.
They were in league with the White Sanders. Some of them,
Okay.
they were kind of a conglomerate of like all a grouping of all different types of bandits who had kind of come together to scout up this way for the White Sanders to connect with what they had said were the dwarves of Ancrag.
Oh, he's in a better place now.
Yeah. There's another hole. That one was pretty deep, about 20 feet deep.
Oh,
And yeah, not like not particularly empty, very full of refuse. There isn't really a smell to it, though. I guess the best way I can kind of describe it is if you really try to smell it, it smells a lot like wet clay. Up ahead, you can see that there's a small alcove to the left of Ezekiel. There's another pit, but this one looks like it has water in it. There's a narrow cave up to the right, north right, and it looks like there's an open kind of area. The ceiling is littered with stalactites, but there are no signs of chokers up here. And there's also no signs of refuse in this pool of water, due to the fact that the water is pretty high and relatively clean. You assume that this might be kind of like a watering hole for the chokers.
Okay. I'll check out the top right area here first.
You see a cave tunnel that just seems to progress on forever in one direct path. And it seems to kind of have a wind to it, but like a wind to it, I mean. But it also looks like it kind of descends a bit. Like this might kind of lead deeper into the mountain proper. I see that you're looking at the alcove. Silas, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So not too dissimilar to the weird little kind of cubby that you saw where the scrolls and such were located. You do find a kind of little secreted away kind of thing here in this corner. And it is a wooden box I say box, I kind of mean like a rack, really. And you can see that there are a bunch of empty bottles, all of the same kind of make. There appears to be one bottle that is still has contents, and it looks like these have all been used kind of gingerly, like they've been used, you know, pretty well. As you kind of pick up the bottle and kind of look at it out of the rack, you realize exactly what it is immediately. It is a dose of shift spice.
Ooh. Silas, good find.
I will absolutely pocket that.
Yep.
These extra bottles, they're
They're
they're up
empty.
for grabs. They're
And
usable.
they are. There are a total of 11 empty bottles and
Oh,
one.
sick.
They are exactly flasks.
I thought you can get more flasks
Or-
than that moon milk.
Yeah, whichever one in the glass version of it.
Honestly, I
container
think 21's a good start, boys.
is. I gotta get more milk.
I mean, I have enough to get the rest of it, but we don't need to be greedy. It's probably all murky now
Fair
since
enough.
I've bothered it.
This cavern over to the. Oh, go ahead.
On the shift spice, it says it gains a plus 5 bonus to saving throws. Is that for a day? Is that
Oh,
for
no,
an
no,
hour?
sorry.
Is that for
For the next saving throw within
Okay.
an hour duration. Sorry, I'll correct that.
okay? I just wanted to make sure.
Absolutely.
Plus 5 forever. This thing's
Oh, no, no.
awesome.
Substance is consumed and then requires a saving throw. That's what it is. So if you're eating something that has like poison in it, or if you're eating something that's like rotted and you put shift spice on it, that's what it was. It adds plus 5 to your saving throw for resisting that effect. It can make even the most foul of things possible to be consumed.
Okay, got it.
Got it.
I'll mark down that this area has a winding tunnel that we can come back to.
Okay.
And I'll remember here.
All right. So this cavern is a bit higher than the last couple that you've seen. It looks like it's probably about 30 feet up. The stalactites that hang from the ceiling here look like they're kind of broken apart, and you can see bits of rubble on the ground that look like they're broken, kind of the broken pins of these stalactites that have kind of fallen down. It almost looks like things have moved around up there, possibly the chokers for some reason. But it also looks like there are a lot of portions where the rock is kind of set. Looks like they're kind of stacked on top of things. When you kind of look at them a little bit more thoroughly, it's almost like they're like little shallow graves, and you can kind of see the bits of rotting chokers underneath them, kind of just lingering under the rock piles.
If this water's clean, I'm gonna top off my water skin.
Okay. You do see.
Would I be able to identify that this is drinkable? This is clean
It is
water,
potable,
clean
very
enough
much.
water. Okay.
Yep. It looks like there is another little alcove there. I'll move the map. It also looks like there might be kind of a passage or something kind of note over here in this corner.
Okay. I'll check out this little passage.
Okay. Looks
Got
like
your back.
it is also still very high, and the tunnel space is also very high. I need you to make a perception check as you kind of make your way through this kind of passageway.
Everyone or just them?
Just for Ezekiel.
10.
Okay. It's dark. It's very quiet. It's very just chillingly still as you kind of make your way into this tunnelway.
I'm gonna, with it being chillingly still, I'm gonna slowly go in a little bit more.
Okay. Making your way in, kind of slowly kind of walk through. It's a very strange looking tunnel. The tunnel on its bottom is a bit damp, but the dampness appears to have kind of a reflective nature, like a shiny sheen to it. I assume, oh, you're using the dark vision goggles, so you can't really see any colors.
Oh, I don't have dark
I
vision
should be
goggles.
carrying a torch.
I have dark vision goggles.
That's right. So you're carrying a light source, is that right?
No, I'm not. I got dark vision
From your class, right?
yeah.
Never mind. Even still, dark vision does not permit the vision
Yeah.
of color, so it's just you can tell it's shiny, because it's just the way it looks, but you don't. Yeah.
Situation where you don't know, it's always best to assume the worst. So that's blue.
Nix
You
yells,
need
"Hey,
help,
Ezekiel, what's in there?"
Hold on.
Possibly blood on them.
Hold on. As Nyx yells out like that, you hear his echo through, and then you hear kind of a reverberation, almost like an engine starting. You then hear a very loud clash and clangor, and Uther and Rolling Rock kind of rush into the room behind you and say, in the most Jeremy way possible, he's like, well, fuck. And you all hear kind of like a loud crash from that direction before he says that.
Nick says, "Oh shit, was that me?"
Fool of a took, man.
Fool of a took indeed. Ezekiel, you have a sense, like a primal sense, that you're being watched. And that low grumbling kind of like happened, the crash happened, and now it's completely still again.
Okay. And I'm like just to confirm the low grumbling that I heard it from this way, right?
Yeah, it came down the passageway.
Okay. So there's obviously something down here.
I'm gonna cast guidance on myself and stick close to Ezekiel.
Okay.
Try to sort of eye the cave walls. I do have a torch.
Okay. Are you moving in, Ezekiel?
Yeah, I'm gonna draw my sword and move in slowly.
Bodhi, in your horror, go ahead and stop there. Bodhi, in your horror, you hear this kind of sound from above Ezekiel, just as you witness two tentacles of about the same size as Ezekiel appear beside him and then immediately lash out onto him.
Look out! That was a close one.
Oh no, yeah, both of those hit. 24 and 23. So as the
Yeah.
tentacles slam into you, you take a total of 15 bludgeoning damage, and you're hoisted up into the air, and all you see is teeth and the pink of the interior of a mouth as a massive maw just bites down into your shoulder. 24 to hit, you take 22 piercing damage.
Can
I'm
I use silvery
unconscious.
barbs on that?
You do not see the source, so no.
I'm
Okey-doke.
going to.
But then you see the source as the thing manifests from its whoosh. The creature that you see lashed onto the ceiling appears to have kind of just erupted out of thin air. It's a mass of just tentacles and tendrils that are connected to this meaty mound of rocky-like structure. And the teeth that bite into Ezekiel hold there as he seems to fall limp in the creature's tentacles. I'm going to go ahead and put up an initiative tracker. I'm also going to put up these other people's character sheets because I apparently have to micromanage now.
Hey, job.
My favorite part of the game.
Do a great job.
Yeah. I do what I can.
Keep your chin up, John.
Yeah. Let's see. What was the fight music? Ah, right. Okay. Initiatives.
How high is the
I
ceiling?
forgot to check how wounded we were.
30 feet up. Just to give you an appreciation of the size of the thing, it is about the size of an ogre, but its tentacles seem to kind of extend outwards to a length almost as tall as like a giant.
Eyes of an ogre. It doesn't even have toes. What a waste.
All right, that's that, and then we got a Uther. Yeah, his initiative is gonna be that, and then we have a Rolling Rock, and his initiative is going to be that. Okay. Dipset descending. All right, Ezekiel, you're unconscious. You are first on the initiative. Go ahead and make a death saving throw.
16.
Okay. You are not stable yet, but you are not getting worse. Bodhi, you can tell that Ezekiel, being intimately familiar with the nature of death, is literally on the cusp of it.
My watch. We are going to. He's already like up.
He's basically about 10 feet or 15 feet off the ground, and the thing is kind of leaned down to bite him.
And is there enough clearance for me to get in under there and move past?
I would say
Or is it
move underneath him. Yeah, absolutely. If you want to run past it, sure. Or just get underneath it, also possible.
so?
It's 30. The ceiling's 30 feet up. It's about 12 feet tall, and its tentacles are about 5 feet down now as they kind of lifted Ezekiel up to that height. So Ezekiel is 15. His feet are dangling like 15 feet off the ground.
The action. Hell with it. We're going to run under, just sort of tag Ezekiel as I move.
Mhm.
Moving past, casting Cure Wounds as second level.
Okay.
For 7 points of healing.
Okay.
And scurrying past the creature. And I think that's going to be my turn.
All right. Rolling Rock will move his 25 feet in behind. And I am going to have him cast Bless. He's going to target Silas, Uther, and he can just barely see Ezekiel. So the three of you are blessed. Just notated on your character sheets. That's it for Rolling Rock. You are up, Chody. And
All
that
right,
is
I'll move.
his.
And I'm going to throw a javelin at him.
Okay.
That's a good answer.
I will rage and
Throw the javelin.
attack recklessly. Yep.
Okay. All right. So the javelin hits the creature, but it just seems to kind of bounce off of its very hardened stone-like skin that it has.
Okay.
All right. Uther goes. He's going to move in behind Silas, and since this is the first turn, he is dread ambushing. And longbow attack. That'll hit. Makes 2 attacks. That'll hit. Okay. Plus 1d8.
Jab.
I'll have to fix his macros personally later. The way he's doing it is inefficient as fuck.
Well, 2 nat 20s and a max damage on the extra.
No.
Beautiful.
What I'm saying inefficiency is that Dread Ambusher should have its own damage clickable, and he doesn't have that.
No, I'm just saying you rolled your first roll on his character, you rolled 20s.
Well, we know that I'm better at playing his characters than I'm better at playing anybody's character.
Oh, really?
I'm cool. I'm the coolest. I'm so cool. Did you know that I'm cool?
Hadn't caught on.
Smash! Ah! It kind of lashes out in pain. In this process, it is going to smash Ezekiel down, just kind of like throw it down straight into the ground. 21 hits, Ezekiel.
Yep.
10 points of damage as you smash into the ground.
Get down again. Damn it.
And you can see that it's kind of like tentacles kind of flare out like cat's whiskers when it's on the ready for the attack towards Uther. Nyx, you're up.
Yeah, Nyx is gonna slide underneath of Uther and sort of on one knee, and fire off his sharp note.
Okay.
26 to hit. Oh god, that's the damage. Sheesh. That's the damage. And then he's gonna roll backwards out of the way.
Kind of kick off on the wall, roll out from underneath his legs,
Yeah.
and kind of ta-da!
Yep.
Okay.
A little ting.
Between Nyx and itself, it's going to use another legendary action. You watch as it disappears from sight. It literally just becomes one with the air and vanishes. All right. As you're looking around and kind of cognitively paying attention, no one's passive perception is good enough for its stealth, so it reappears. Its tentacles already flaring down straight into Uther's back.
Thank God.
It hits with one of them. The other one misses. It deals a bit of damage, 7 to be exact. And as it kind of grabs a hold of him, you can see that the tentacle has like a pot at the end of it with like small barb-like blades that kind of lash into his skin and kind of suck him up. As it brings him back up to the air, it bites down. It does hit, and you watch as Uther's eyes kind of roll into the back of his head with the bite.
Again?
Ezekiel. Dying. Death saving throw. You are not getting worse. Bodhi. This is
Alright, here's a new plan.
This thing does appear to be very, very deadly. Keep in mind, you do not have to stay and fight.
Got it. Running past Ezekiel. Wait, let me get some measurements down real quick. Sorry. That's on me. 15.
Nyx can heal too, just
15.
remember Bodhi.
Well, you could bonus action shove a potion into Ezekiel's
That's
mouth.
what I'm doing. He's
Could
getting
we-
a potion.
Oh, dude, the way I'm
Bonus
imagining
action.
it, the way I'm imagining it is Bodhi's like running, and then he dives over Ezekiel with the potion in hand, but he's got it pointed down, and as he's flying, he pulls the stopper and settles it in his dog mouth, and it just glug, 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 glug. So it goes
Yeah,
itself.
I do like the vortex thing, so there's no bubble.
Damn!
I've practiced this.
Rapid drinker, swift drinker, yeah.
Take potion health, Chandler.
2d4 plus 2.
Can we lure it into one of the shorter ceilings, maybe, so we're able to get him hard?
You would be
easier?
aware that the ceiling area where they said like it narrows and kind of is closer to kind of where the chokers were has fallen in. It's caved in. Your passage, the way you came in, is blocked.
We are going to. Oh, there's no chance that works. With my action. Yeah, hell with it. We're going to. Can I get there? Am I even standing in a square?
No.
How did I do that?
You held Alt.
I didn't, though.
Oh, you hit a border and it stopped you.
Oh, okay, weird. Well,
You've moved a total of 15 so far. You've got 15 left. You could jump over. You could land underneath it and be next to Uther if you wanted to cure wounds.
yeah, that's what I'm wanting to do.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cool.
let's say I'm doing that. Regular type cure wounds because
No,
upcharging
yeah.
doesn't do. Oh, okay, now it does 11.
It's hanging.
On a
You
regular-
kind of jump up and smack it. As you see,
Yeah, I hit him square in the face.
yeah, because he's kind of
Be healed.
he kind of was pulled up and like turned and then kind of dropped to hang after the first bite. As you kind of see Uther kind of drop down and you hit the wound kind of heals up. You can see the creature as it's holding him kind of like lick at the blood on its teeth, like angrily, and then kind of as it's kind of looking, but it doesn't seem to have any eyes. You just can feel it looking everywhere. And as it's kind of doing that, you see the tendrils on the pseudopod kind of retract, and Uther's body drops. He takes 2 points of bludgeoning damage and is prone. And in between Bodhi and Rolling Rock, it does a thing where it disappears. Ezekiel, as you're waking up from the potion bottle in your mouth, you see, just as it was before, it's directly above you, and its tentacles are slowly making their way down. It doesn't do anything yet, but it's
Oh, it
action.
likes dog better than it does Goliath.
Yeah, it seems to have, like, when it was licking, it seemed angry about the taste. So Bodhi done. Rolling Rock, you are up, and Rolling Rock, you are me, of course. I am going to... I really don't have much in the way of resources due to all the work I did with the Nimble rights here. I have 1 second level spell, and I have 1 first level spell left. I wouldn't have cast Bless if I knew that was the case. But seeing Uther being as wounded as he is, and not really being able to hit due to most of my attacks being melee, I'm going to cast Cure Wounds, and I'm going to upcast it. All in, baby. Alright, so it'll be 3 plus 5. This number here is the enchant totem, which I forgot to check. And that will be it for his second level spell slots. Rolling Rock, as he gets Uther up, he says, I do not think we can win this fight.
Yeah, run.
If so, he says, okay, I will see if we can't find a path. He will move this short, because he's not a fast one. He's going to make his way back into the other chamber. Okay, cool. Unchecking Enchant Totem, and done with him. Silas, you are up. You are still raging. You can see it. And its tentacles, I'd say, due to the fact that I said they kind of descended down, are attackable.
And the dog is still
Prone.
prone. I'm going to run up and try to cut off some of the tentacles.
Okay. Let's see that attack. Recklessly?
Still raging recklessly, yes.
Okay. So as you swing, you see the tentacles kind of very quickly kind of move back into the husk of the creature, and its mouth kind of like drops down. Immediately, do you have any other actions? Sorry.
Hungry Jaws.
If you want a Hungry Jaws as well, like you could have swung and bit at the same
The
time.
past tense.
Yeah, I want.
Right?
I don't know if I hit the Hungry Jaws. I don't know if you'll let me do it or not, but I want to try to actually grab him and kind of hold him and pull him. Like, I don't want to bite and let go if I can. I want to try to hold him.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead and make a Hungry Jaws attack. That'll hit.
18.
All right, so you bite a hold of the tentacle. As you kind of latch onto it, you kind of try and kind of hold onto it. You realize that the tentacle comes free of the creature, and you now have this just like long, nasty-looking, fleshy thing kind of in your mouth. And as it's kind of reeling its tentacles up, its other tentacle, like kind of like grows slightly bigger. Another one. It looks like it has 2 primary kind of ones that it can kind of facilitate. There's a bunch of them inside though. And like I was saying, in between your turn and Uther's, you watch as its form kind of slithers down the sidewall a little bit. And then its face, you can see its teeth just kind of like extending outwards as the gums seem to kind of like permeate out of the mouth and then shoot forward and bite at you like viciously. 17 to hit.
Yep.
So you're currently raging, so you would take 26 if you weren't. So you'll take 13 as it smashes into your arm, leaving kind of like a nasty like circle of needle-like points. As it just kind of caught you with the base of the tooth. Uther kind of
He's not grappled or anything, is he?
No.
Okay.
He does have one of its tentacles in its mouth, but it seems to have like lizard-tailed out of the creature when he bit it. A lizard fooled by lizard tailing.
Incredible.
Okay. Youth are on the ground, kind of like, let Jeremy kind of, will bonus action, or will action dash if the call is for retreat. Is that the case or no? Are we fighting?
Slow it down if you can, otherwise leave.
He'll only move 15, so since he only has 9 hit points, he's definitely in the bonus action, or the action dash. And
We're leaving.
he'll get on up then and move it on out. Alright. He gets 1, 2, 3. Okay. He hoofs it. Youth are done. Nyx, you're up.
Could I see the creature?
Not from your... Can you see the token?
No.
Then no.
I can see it now. So I'm moving 5 feet.
Mhm.
I'm going to... He's going to say, God, you're the ugliest, smelliest son of a gun I've ever seen.
Okay. Wisdom saving throw, right?
Yeah, DC 15.
It failed.
Great. So
yeah.
there's disadvantage on his next attack, and it takes 1d4 damage. So we're going to take 5,
That-
Dick
10.
Burn, get out of here.
That weird kind of chittering sound it made when it was angry about Uther, it kind of... And it seems to kind of like chase after you. Like the sound seems to chase after Nyx specifically.
Okay.
And Nyx, you were born and raised in caverns, so you kind of understand what this creature is doing. It's echolocation.
Yeah, right.
In between Nyx and Balhannoth, you, Ezekiel, laying on the ground, see it kind of just vanish again. And then Nyx, you see it appear in the chasm behind you, but at the point where it starts to kind of lower down. If it were to climb into the cave that you're in, it would have to kind of like get in there and just be a wall of tentacles. So you don't know, it's not there yet. It's still up above the hole, but it's definitely kind of like turning its head and kind of looking into the hole at you. It goes to its turn. It throws 2 tentacle attacks. First one, do you have any reactions?
To me?
Yeah, it's attacking you.
Silvery barbs, isn't that after the fact?
So I make the attack, and I tell you if I hit, and then go ahead and throw silvery barbs.
So here's the thing. So the first also he has disadvantage on an attack because of the
Vicious Mockery.
Vicious
Perfect.
Mockery. So that's the first thing.
You don't want to waste that one then, because it does the same thing. Must re-roll the d20 and use the lower, which is effectively disadvantage. Got it. Cool. And then it grants advantage. Okay, so since the wording is the same as advantage, disadvantage on the first part, yeah, I would say that you would just sync it so it's just the first roll or the second roll, whichever is lower. Okay, cool. Because of Vicious Mockery, the first attack misses. Second attack will be thrown at you, and it's another tentacle attack.
Silvery barbs, if you know.
Okay, so as you kind of move into position, like inside of the cave, you see its head kind of lean in and kind of as the teeth are kind of like coming up. You know that those can't jut out super far. You saw what you feel is the extension of those. The tentacles fly out towards you. One just kind of smashes the stone above you, and your hat kind of like, as you drop down, kind of pops off your head a little bit, and then lands back. And then you kind of whisper a word, to the winds as the next one's coming in. You see the barbs kind of wind around the tentacle and cause it to slam just above the other one. It scrapes both tentacles across the stone. You can see these kind of carve marks, which you actually saw back in the other parts of the chamber, but its bite does not get to throw because it did not grab you.
Nice.
After the Balhannoth, it goes to Ezekiel, who I believe is dashing. Is that right?
Yeah. I'm gonna stand up and then dash to try to get here with my dash, right?
So when you stand up, you have your movement, but the way I rule it is you just have it for that purpose. So your speed still is 30 if you dash, so you can move 45. If you want to get to the other side of it, you could, because it's up, so you could get onto that square. You wouldn't be away from it yet, but you would be in the narrows.
Yeah, I'll do that. And then let me check something here. Okay, I'm going to activate my Giant's Might, but I don't grow because I don't think I have the room to grow in this smaller cavern.
You do.
Oh, I do? Okay. then I'll do that.
You'd
And
still
then
be
I'll-
large. You're not at the full like height that you would normally get. You only go up to a 10-foot height, so you're kind of like a dwarf giant dog. The DDD,
Amazing.
the DGD.
Then I will action surge so that I can try to hit it.
Okay.
Ooh,
You kind of
miss.
get big, and you kind of like put your shield up, and you kind of throw your sword, and you can see it kind of spark across the stone, swing up towards it. It does cut a couple of the smaller tentacles, but it doesn't really hurt it, and it just kind of like immediately changes its tack, just kind of face snaps back into itself. Its tentacles all wind back behind it, like they're all just going to be thrown forward like a pendulum into you. But before that happens, it's going to switch into bite mode. I am going to use my legendary action to consume you. Not today.
Silvery. Okay.
Hey,
if it hits, I can react.
it doesn't hit. A 9 misses. It slams against the shield as your sword kind of like retracts back into the defensive posture, and you kind of feel the essence of the effigy kind of fill up inside of you to block. Bodhi, you're up.
So within the rules to hold my action until
So the way we're doing it now is there's no delaying. Delaying is not a rule that's typically in Dungeons and Dragons. But
Okay.
the way I typically regard it is if you're readying an action to dash, is that the plan? Like you want
I was readying a spell.
Oh, okay.
See, what I wanted to do was move over here, ready a spell for Silas to get into a position where I could see him.
Yeah, absolutely fine. So readying an action is an action. It just means
Okay.
that you'll use your reaction at a later point to use it. And I will note too, the spell that you're using, you have to declare because the level spell slot, if it doesn't trigger, does dissipate. So yeah, if you're readying a spell,
I'm twinning the spell.
Teleport thingy. Yeah, I know what it's called.
Yeah, the vortex warp. That's the one.
Vortex warp. That's right.
I've gotten a lot of mileage out of it already.
Good so far, yeah. Rolling Rock will, seeing the defense becoming necessary and him kind of being full board health-wise, will spin about, and I will look at his spells to see if he has any range. He has Toll the Dead, which I have not fixed the macro for. I will roll the saving throw for the Balhannoth. It saves.
How's this thing looking, by the way? Not bloodied
Not
at all?
bloodied yet.
Okay, cool.
You see the bell kind of appear below it and shine. It doesn't seem to affect the creature. It seems to. It's not that it's immune to it. It doesn't save. Silas, you rush around the corner.
Yes, he does with the tentacle flailing in his mouth, and he's
We're
going,
leaving, buddy.
The second Bodhi sees you, his reaction triggers.
I know. I'm trying to
I
cinematic.
have-
I was like, ah!
The two of you
I
teleport.
have vortex warping both Silas and Nyx. That cavern that Ezekiel is looking at, is it more narrow?
Yeah, that passageway there looks like it's way too narrow for this creature to fit.
That's our escape route. I'm putting both of them as far into that as I can. I've got a 60-foot.
Zoom, zoom, zoom. So yeah, it would be 60 feet out from you, so they'd be right at the mouth of it on the map.
90 feet, sorry.
90 feet. Okay, yeah. So you'd only be able to see kind of down a little bit because it does.
Sure.
But that's fine. Okay. Uther, seeing the situation, will knock his arrow and shoot. How? It bounces off the hide of it. You see him kind of coming back for you. And rush down the passageway.
Yeah, that's what he'd say.
That's definitely what he would say. Uther, between yours and Nyx's turn, it goes to the Balhannoth's legendary action, and it will bite at him. So it does hit. Any reactions?
Sharp note.
No.
I'm sorry, not sharp note. Silvery barb. Sorry, I was thinking about my other thing.
Okay. Silvery Barbs has a range of 60 feet, so you're good. Okay. It takes precedent. You watch as the silvery barbs kind of change around your shield, Ezekiel, and raise it up despite your strength not to keep it up after the last hit, and you kind of block a second time. Happy for the shifters of reality. Nyx, you are next.
It's gonna spit out sound, a jarring sound.
That'll hit. Okay.
And then I'm going to take some movement and move just a little bit back. I'm having trouble seeing where this cave goes from here. Does it go to the north?
Just say if you're going down the cave, you're off the map. That's it.
Yeah, I don't want to leave completely. I'm still within range to fire at it if I need to, right? I have 100. There's 120 feet, so I have plenty of range as long as I can see it.
Yeah, I'd say if you're going to stay at the mouth of the cave, that's fine. You can do that. But you've also seen that it's able to teleport. So if you want to keep being a nuisance, you can.
The others have gone, Silas and...
Yeah, the Balhannoth is next. So.
All right, I'll go back further then.
Okay. All right, I am going to kill Ezekiel, the big white puppy.
Like hell.
Tentacle, bite. Yeah, 25 to hit.
Yeah.
So barbed.
Do you have it?
I mean, I have it. Yeah, absolutely. I have plenty of them.
I don't understand how, because you've spent a lot of. You don't,
No. I've
okay.
got 1, 2, 3, 3 spell slots left.
Okay.
I've been doing other things. I've been doing a cantrip slot.
Okay. So yeah, Silvery Barbs will change it to a 22. 8 bludgeoning, you are grappled. And then the second attack will miss, and the third attack, which is the bite, will also miss. But you are grappled by it. It has not pulled you up much more than like 5 feet. So you are aloft, but you are not...
Unconscious again, though.
Is he still big?
He is not, I don't think. Actually, did you throw your rune up? The rune trait?
No,
Can you throw that up for me?
Giant Smite.
It just lasts a minute. Yeah, he's still big.
Is he going to be able to fit in that cave?
So yeah, it's kind of pulling at him. Ezekiel is off the ground by about 5 feet. You can kind of like, I'll say like a single increase of 5 feet if you want to just slide under him.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ezekiel, good death saving throw. Bodhi, you're up.
Need this thing to let go of him. Give me 1 second.
Does Vortex Warp let you do large creatures or no?
Vortex Warp is a 2nd level spell, and I'm all out of spell slots.
Do you have sorcery points to shift into a 2nd level?
Not enough of them.
Damn.
Send through.
Well, it did drop Ezekiel when it took a lot of damage last time. It like threw him down on the ground.
A lot of damage, you say?
Mm-hmm. You and Uther straight up boned him with like arrows, yeah.
That I have a lot of damage. Let's try it.
Okay.
Hell with it. We are going to bonus action healing word.
On Ezekiel.
Last spell slot. And we are going to I am not 5th level yet, so this will be just 1d10. Hoping it hits. 18 fireball. Wow, 1 fire. That's enough to make him drop him. That thing hates fire.
Clearly, right?
Doesn't
it's
even
like
know.
a 50 weakness.
Doesn't even notice.
Son of a bitch, this thing.
It goes to Rolling Rock, who is going to rush forward, and he's going to grab Ezekiel and try and wrench him free. So he's going to make a strength athletics check.
Oh, I do still have 1 spell.
Wow, he's not strong. I thought he was strong. Huh.
None of us are smart. None of us are strong.
These are things I'm very quickly realizing. I'm going to do a smart. He is going to Earth Tremor, but he's going to do it on the ceiling above the Balhannoth. Actually, better. He's going to ready his action to do that. so that when Bodhi gets through, he'll drop it. Yeah?
Oh, actually, I should have used my movement.
No,
speed.
I'm just going to use my first level slow slot to cure wounds. Look it. On Ezekiel. 5 back.
Back in the double digits, baby. Let's
Actually,
go.
Hold on. He's going to healing word with his bonus action, and then he's going to he's going to help you with your athletics check to get out. And I'm not gonna change the dice roll. He could have gotten that with a healing word. It's fine. So gain 5 hit points, and you have advantage on your next athletics check to try and escape the grapple. All right, that was Rolling Rock. Silas, you are up.
I'm going to move forward 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to throw my other javelin at him.
Okay, go ahead. That'll hit.
But for real, we're running away, guys.
I was trying to help get him out of there.
I know.
It kind of starts bleeding a bit, just a tiny bit. So just barely got him into that nether department, but it's going to use its legendary action immediately after to slam Ezekiel down to the ground angrily. You take 7 points of damage, Ezekiel, and you're prone. All right, Silas, any other movement? You have about 10 feet left if you wanted to go back up that
I'm
way.
going to move back, yeah.
Okay. Uther will pop back in just for a second and kind of yell, we're leaving. And he takes another shot. Because of the angle, the creature has cover against range attacks from this position. It's kind of pulled back behind the descent. So Uther is taking a single shot. And move that longbow. Oh, with the longbow? Oh, god damn, okay. Yeah, the javelin didn't do it. That definitely did. It's definitely in a Ezekiel dropping mood. Alright, Uther's gonna move back down the hole, angrily yelling, let's go! Nyx.
If we're going, he's gonna go.
Okay, dashing down the hole?
Yep.
Alright. The Balhannoth is going to, between that last turn and its, become completely invisible. And then on its initiative, Ezekiel, you're lying on the ground. You can feel tentacles kind of move over top of you, almost as if something was like gliding across the ceiling of the 10 or so foot high ceiling you're in, and it's kind of like moving its tentacles up towards itself. Due to the nature of feel, I'll let you take an opportunity attack if you wish, but you have disadvantage.
Yeah.
It misses. Yeah, there's just like weird wet feeling, and you just don't get a hit off. But yeah, it's going to move to that position, and that you don't see, and it's going to ready an action, which you don't see as well. All right, Ezekiel, you're up. Well, you're prone, but yeah.
I'm gonna stand up.
Okay.
Very.
Be smaller.
I can't like forcefully end it. It lasts for
Son
a
of
minute.
Bitch.
Let's see here. I'm gonna bonus action second wind.
Mm-hmm. And do you want to use your
Sure.
action to dodge since you don't know where it's at, so you're defensively moving, or do you want to just run through with a dash and hope it doesn't murder you with whatever it's readied?
So, let's see here. I'm really sad that I can't see it. Oh wait, I have blind fighting. Would that still?
It's not within
Help.
10 feet of you. I've got the aura up. You would have felt it over top of you. Your attack
Okay.
would have missed with a 13. Blind fighting doesn't mean you see it, you just know where it is. That's why I even told you there were tentacles near you.
Okay, gotcha. Okay.
I wouldn't have told Andy. I wouldn't have told Andy. Like I'm not telling him that it's right behind him.
So let's see here. I'm going
We all see
to
Whoops.
move. I don't want to block the cave entrance, so I'm gonna move down here.
You're going to jump over the water pool pit?
Oh, I can't make. Yeah, you're right. I can't make it around that.
Yeah,
Go with the cave.
How large? Like how far across is it?
it's about 7 feet. I mean, it's a jump.
Better safe than sorry. I'm gonna move up here, so
Okay.
I'm still not in the way of that.
So you're actually subtracting a 5-foot space from yourself because you were measuring from the back and moving to the front.
Oh, my bad.
Over.
And then I'll
You can go 5
ready.
feet more if you wanted, is what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, and then I'll ready an action to attack it if I if it pops up within my attack range.
Okay. No need. So an unseen assailant, as you kind of move into that space, you feel it on the opposite side of the water pool. Had you jumped across, you would have slammed into it and fell into the water. So good call on not doing that. But it is definitely right now adjacent to you, and it spurs its ready to action. Because you have blind fight, I will say that it normally has advantage, but it does not gain the benefits of invisibility, so it does not have that. 18 misses.
Misses.
Okay. Yeah, you get your shield up just in time, and you can hear the loud scraping of the teeth against it, but yeah, it's still invisible.
Okay. Does that mean I can attack it?
Use...
Oh no, it's never mind. Yeah. As soon as I see it, I'm getting it.
Okay.
As soon as I see it.
Yeah. So you can attack it. I mean, you can swing at that space, but do you want to use your action for more defensive actions, like dashing now that its reaction spent, or dodging now that you know it's there and it can be defended against?
Yeah, I would like to dodge because I'm really just trying to wait on Bodhi to get over here.
Got it.
I'll
Got
get
it.
there. Don't worry about it.
All right, Bodhi, you're up.
We are casting the dash spell to get as far past all these rooms as I can. I have a 35 feet movement speed. I can get 70.
You're in the hole. Rolling Rock will, seeing the situation as it's unfolding and knowing this is his moment, will do the same. And Uther should already be in there. And Silas, you see that 3 of your allies have already moved down the hole. Ezekiel's the only one remaining, and he looks like he's defending against an invisible assailant.
I'll back down the hole as well, since
Okay.
he seems to be ready to go.
Uther continues down the hole. Nyx, are you staying up here, or are you going down? You
Down.
already went down, that's right.
I'm down. Yeah.
Cool. Then the last chance, sir, I get, I'm going to try and smash the dog. Let's see. And you took the dodge action, so I have disadvantage. Tentacle. 11 and 14 miss, and then bite. 14 misses as well. You manage to kind of keep the shield up, and you can feel it hammering against you as you kind of get backed against the wall in your giant mode. But you're absolutely comfortable with where you're at the end. You can disengage and freely move away from it to get through, or you can just run like crazy and hope that your defenses keep you alive. Because I think your hit points are pretty close. Like, they might survive a tentacle hit, but you know that it reacts with its bite attack.
Yeah, I'm going to definitely take the disengage and book it.
30 is enough to get you in. You do hear it kind of wailing angrily, and like behind you for a good distance as you make your way down. It's more or less, it's not anger or pain. It's more of like an anger of like, you know, someone knocking your food off of the table and ruining the meal, so to speak. All right, so you would know that the cavern of Bemenoth seems to go down quite a bit. It's a good distance away, but you know that the alternative is a certain demise to the mouths and maw of Balhannoth. So you continue downwards. Eventually, you get to a point where you are quietly moving through this narrow passageway, where the passageway seems to kind of open up to a lit space. There seems to be light up ahead. Wounded as you are, in the tunnel, you aren't certain that this is a safe place, whether or not the Balhannoth is squeezing after you, or you know, what's coming from ahead. But yeah, how would you like to proceed into this next lit space?
If we're not sure what's ahead of it, I would volunteer myself to go first.
Okay.
How's everybody looking as far as
Uther's fucked up.
survivability?
Like, Uther has 9-ish hit points. I believe you and Nyx are fine, not too much on the damage degree.
Yeah, like less than 10 for me.
Rolling Rock didn't take any damage hit point wise, but he is out of spell slots completely.
How did the thing taste?
You still got it in your mouth.
Yep.
The best way I can kind of describe its taste would be like grass mixed with like wet clay, and with kind of like a briny taste. Like it's like someone took like a sod of like baseball grass and then put that into fish oil.
So nothing sounds like I could make
Yeah.
anything from they won't
You
like.
could upsell it for sure. That's
The thing that's super weird about it for you is the texture, and like lizard folks really like the mouthfeel of things, and this thing has a very kind of like stringy kind of like I'm trying to think of the plant. I'm trying to think of the fruit rather. It's like it's really
durian.
Yeah, durian. It's got like a very durian-y kind of like texture. It's very
Fibrous.
fibrous. Yeah.
So nothing that I could make and sell.
It's not feeling great. The tentacle is definitely not. It would definitely take a lot of shift spice to make this palatable.
Drop
Does it still have the barbs on it?
No, the barbs seem to have retracted inwards, and you can't really get them out. They're kind of like the best way to describe it is they are musculaturely like cat claws, but like inside of a big flat pod.
So if it has
I'm
a
gonna
claws, you can
heal
make an
you, sir.
improvised whip.
You're gonna heal Uther, you said?
Yep, for that money.
All right.
21.
Yeah, he's looking fresh. So yeah, he's more than happy to continue ahead, but he says that light is not really his playground. And that's why
Yeah,
it's DM excuse to get him out of it.
I'll voluntarily go forward myself first, just in case we take damage.
If that's
Are
the
we
case,
splitting up?
I'm going to move you to the map. You'll kind of see where you're at. And if you're looking at the map, it does look a little wonky. I've kind of shoved you in like weird spaces, but you're really entering from this hole that I'm kind of pinging, like on the wall. But like, yeah.
Yeah.
As you kind of move into this space, there appears to be a glowing smokeless torch up on the wall, and it seems to be illuminating what looks like an alchemist's lab. It's very, very tidy, but still there's like a certain kind of like scientific kind of just confusion to it all. It looks like there's a massive clay pot with a stopper on top of it and like a stirring like slot on the topper and a long golden handle that's kind of extending out of the top of it.
Like a butter churn?
No, not like
Shape?
a burger churn. Kind of like so like the lid is round and there's like a small little cut on the edge of the lid, and like there's a spoon. It's like a spoon slot, so you can kind of leave the spoon inside of the the in this case cauldron.
I have proficiency in alchemist's tools. Would I recognize this equipment? Would I recognize what they're doing here?
Well, Raziel, you would note as you're kind of walking out before
Sorry,
you
yeah.
kind of get
Checking
to
order.
yeah, no worries. Before you can get to like a closer position to examine these tools indefinitely, the ground appears to be covered with hay. Very strange, and you can hear kind of a sound coming from around the corner, like this way.
I'm gonna tell everybody, and then I'm gonna draw a sword, very cautiously, and I'm going to move up to here.
Okay.
Let them know that the area opens up a lot.
Go ahead and make a stealth check.
Oh, I'm not good at those boys.
It's okay. It has disadvantage on its perception checks too. so-
13.
Okay. It's a very consistent kind of almost snoring like sound. As you kind of move out, everybody kind of fills in. Nyx, you kind of move over to the tools there. I'm assuming Silas does likewise. Rolling Rock and Uther kind of stay back. Uther's watching the back, keeping an eye out that way. And Nyx, I assume you walk over and check out the cauldron and stuff as well, the tools.
Sure, what's there?
It looks like a cavalcade of potion-making utensils. It is a brewer slash alchemist, just clusterfuck. The massive pot, if you kind of step up the steps, which are actually small size, like whatever creature was making this must have been a smaller creature.
Oh, how comfortable.
It's very comfortable for the dromite. You walk up and kind of lift the lid with the gold spoon in it, and you can see that it appears to be like a weird, like paste material. It's kind of a reddish color, but it smells like it's gone off. It's not like rotting or gross. It just smells not good. You think it might be. I think you might be familiar with Kikios. I think we brought that up before. It's a mixture that's kind of like a porridge plus healing potion. But it looks like they were building a massive vat for it, which is weird because Kikios doesn't really last long. But for whatever reason, they were making a bunch of it. But they left it for some reason, and it's going well. Ezekiel, you make your way out. If anybody at those tools wants to, you can collect either an alchemist's toolkit, a brewer's toolkit. Either or can be fashioned from the utensils that are on offer here. Ezekiel, come around and you see that there's a massive pile of hay. The hay in question looks like it was kind of ripped apart from hay bales. You can see scratch marks all over the ground, and kind of laying inside of the hay bale is a large insect. The insect in question has like these strange purple barbs that are kind of humming with like energy, and its faceplate seems to be covering these compound eyes. It seems to be kind of letting out this weird snoring sound, and it does look like it's kind of curled in on itself, like it's sleeping. And based on the fact that it's not jumping up and trying to kill you, that seems to be the case. But you can see that its blades are quite wicked looking, and its teeth are as well. As you're staring at it, I need you to make an intelligence check.
11.
You have this ping of insight. You remember during conglomerate operative training that this is a creature known as a mage hunter. They are very specific and keen on killing magic users. That's all they live for. And they sometimes can be controlled by magic users to kill other magic users, but they sometimes are just infestations that hunt down magic users from the subterranean. They come out of the subterranean and they just murder magic users.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Yikes.
like signal. Actually, I'm gonna walk back. I don't want to holler. I don't want to make any noise.
I don't want to nix this.
Yeah, I don't want to be a Nix, you know. I'm gonna come back.
Man, you're a verb now.
I'm gonna whisper to
That's his dream come true.
Bodhi and them. We're like, hey, there's a thing up here. It literally only exists to kill mages. It's asleep right now. We might want to get out of here really fast. So I'm not sure we can take it, considering the amount we're down right now. Okay. But it could be controlled. But
That's domesticated.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Somebody probably owns this thing, and then they died, so it's just kind of living its life here.
Hard to say.
You would have noticed there are a bunch of scratch marks on the ground, possibly from where this creature was like digging. It doesn't appear to be a burrowing type creature, but yeah, it looks like it's been trying to kind of claw at the walls and other surfaces.
It's like it's either trying to get
I'll sneak out and take a look. What's the worst that could happen?
Yeah, go ahead and make a stealth check.
Oh, he's big.
He's a big boy.
Stealth check. Yeah.
Okay. You step out. You kind of step on a piece of hay that kind of like bristles underneath your foot. You see it kind of... Its tongue kind of comes out and it's like... And then just kind of goes back to sleeping. For a moment during that process, the glowing spines on the back of its head kind of flared up a bit, and then they kind of went back down. It does not wake
so
up.
He's vaguely aware that I'm here and I'm magic.
Yeah.
Is my assumption.
That's a safe assumption. But yeah, you recognize it immediately because you've been through operative tutorials. These are mage hunters.
They probably fed me to one at one point.
You've probably been fed to one before.
Am I seeing anything of note out in this main cavern?
The scratch marks. It does look like there are some tunnel ways, but it looks like they've been intentionally blown out. Another thing
Does
I
the
wanted.
place look utterly abandoned? Does it look like it was occupied by something or someone in particular other than this thing?
It looks like it was abandoned based on the potion concoction and some other things that you're kind of seeing around here. Another thing I wanted to note for you is, since you're a bit wiser in the ways of the lessons that were imbued to you by the conglomerate, I need you to make an Arcana check.
Make an Arcana check?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm real good at that one too. 11.
Decent enough. This creature is not in sentry form. Typically, when a mage hunter is bound to a caster, they can kind of enter a state of like sleep, like a trance. This is not in that and is sleeping, which to you would denote that this is a wild mage hunter, not a mage-bound mage hunter.
Okay.
So we could tame it.
We could let it sleep.
With your
for
intelligence rolls that you've been
however
making,
long
I
it needs to.
would not suggest it.
So, wild mage hunter, gotta catch them all.
I'm
Taming
going
is like
to.
worst case scenario, if it somehow wakes up.
I will let you know immediately, though, Brent. I'm not Kevin. You're not walking out of here with an army of creatures.
I'm gonna signal.
Aw,
I'm gonna
man.
signal back to Ezekiel and the others to, take what you can. I'm gonna eye some of the other areas in this place.
Absolutely.
And shush.
We have to go through that area, though. There's not. We came in through this hole. We have to go through there.
Oh no, I know. I'm scouting forward.
Oh, okay, cool.
I'm gonna come scout with you because I don't know anything about alchemist tools.
Loudly argues back from 2 rooms away.
Yeah, beyond
I
it,
know that.
beyond the creature, if you kind of like peruse, you can see that there's this kind of wooden gate.
Why is this happening?
It looks like it's kind of broken apart up here, but you would notice that behind it there's a perfectly good-looking piano and some other kind of tools of relaxation and rest. But yeah, you guys continue the other direction. That's fine. You would see inside of this chamber that you're moving towards, there's a massive green iron chest with a ruby where a locker opening mechanism would be. And then there's a bunch of different tools laid out on the ground, or laid out on the tables and walls. It looks like this is a lot of hunting equipment. Looks like there's a test or a practice target. A couple of letters that have been written out and kind of rolled up into almost like a scroll-like patterning. It seems that the letters in question, if you kind of give them a look, are requests for like general materials. It looks like there's a request for like porridge. There's requests for beer. There's requests for other things. There's a barrel over here that has beer in it. Looks like this would be kind of like a storage chamber. Rolling Rock.
Chest.
Rolling Rock, as you're kind of maneuvering about, kind of says to Silas and Nyx, I'm getting this weird feeling that we're in a basement. Dwarves have stone cutting. They kind of can tell
Right.
how the stone works, and he says, I feel like we're in a basement.
I mean, the
Right
floor looks a
there.
lot different than the cavern floor, that's for sure.
We
Weren't
travel.
there some dwarven encampments
Yeah.
in and about this mountain?
Rolling Rock mode. That's totally what Steve sounds like. But yeah, this chamber, other than the weird green iron chest with the red block mechanism, you're not sure what.
I'll look at the chest without touching it, but I'm not about to.
Okay, so you would know that the lock mechanism is pretty common in Jernarus. Basically, it's a mark key, so you need to be able to cast a spell Prestidigitation to leave your arcane mark on the red gem. It will then open for you. But if someone were wanting to catalog it, they could actually go through and find whose mark opened when, so they can kind of track you down by your arcane mark.
Oh, that's clever. I can't do Prestidigitation,
No worries.
so we're not opening that. I guess I'll just search for basic supplies over on this side, just very quietly, see if I can't get some arrows for Uther, and
Yeah, so there's probably
I don't know,
about
maybe I'll bottle a couple of things of beer for Rolling Rock. He
there's
seems like
about
the type.
10 regular arrows, and there's 2 whistling bulb arrows. And I don't know if you're familiar with what a whistling bulb arrow does, but when you fire it, it's not for shooting into something, it's for shooting up in the air as a signal arrow. It creates a really loud kind of wailing sound, or whistling sound, because of the name, when it's fired into the air aloft.
That'd be good against that sonar tentacle monster.
It could have been, yeah, I would have tricked it all up. As you're moving out of that chamber, you do hear kind of like a scurrying sound in the wall behind the chest. Kind of like, more like this direction. It kind of sounds like something stuck in the wall.
Oh, they got birds. I've been there.
It
I'll give it a listen, see if I can identify it, but otherwise I'm
almost sounds like someone's
trepidatious.
attacking the wall with daggers.
Okay, I'm gonna give that wall some space and sort of flag Ezekiel as I step away from there.
Mm-hmm.
You want me to do
Just watch that wall for a second. We're not done here.
it? Okay.
You were looking at this space over here before you got called over, Ezekiel. There is a tunnel. It looks like it kind of goes out, but it looks like about 5 feet in. It looks like the ceiling of the tunnel has basically been dropped in on it.
Okay. Yeah. I'll note that and tell it to Bodhi also when he calls me over to look at this wall.
Okay.
What's did I get the feeling something's trying to like break through that wall?
Ezekiel, when you hear the sound, it's basically what your brain space kind of developed as to what these claw marks would have been. You're pretty sure that there's possibly another one of these creatures on the other side of the wall here.
Yeah, it's a second mage hunter, I think.
Nope. We haven't had any indication that they've been capable of breaking through walls so far. It looks like he's just sort of scored the floor in some of the walls.
Yeah.
Okay, I feel a little better. I'm not keen on those being around and awake, but
I agree.
Now there is, like I said, the piano behind it. It does look like there is a hole behind it as well, but this one's kind of in the floor, not out.
Probably a bathroom hole.
Possibly. Without getting closer, you wouldn't be able to tell, and that will require another stealth check. But we're working on the stealth check that you currently went in, so if you want to go other places, that's fine.
I
any
see there's
closer
like,
to
there's like a little tunnel down this way.
Okay.
Nix, you play the piano.
So in here, you would see that there's some
Yes.
There's some wood cutting tools. Looks like a couple of pieces of lumber. It's a very simple, kind of small shop, like woodcutter shop. If you wanted to, you could collect a woodcutter's tool set here. The tunnel that's in this space looks like it's similar to the tunnel in the middle there. Looks like it leads out, but it's blocked. Heading south more?
I'll wave at Nix and Silas with
Yeah,
a big
So
big finger to the mouth.
the two of you will note that the torchlight that's here, that's illuminating the space, it does not appear that the fire is real. It looks like it's continual flames that have been cast into the sconces. So the light appears to be magical light that's been made permanent here.
Are those reusable? Like if
Well,
we were to take one?
because of the way they cast them into the sconces, you'd have to remove the whole sconce and take it with you, which is like a 15-pound iron
Yeah,
kind of deal. Yeah, unfortunately, it's not a torch that's lodged into it.
Right.
But yeah, looks like there's a Fletcher set here. It looks like this is probably where the arrows and such get made. If Uther were here, but we'll just say, if Uther gets reported of this, he'll say it looks like someone very skillful at hunting is the one who is using this tool. Must be hunting grounds outside or something nearby. Otherwise, why would you have this?
And you motioned silent.
I motioned the both of you. Everybody can come inside.
All
Just careful.
Ezekiel would say, just to kind of make sure that the PCs who aren't present are kind of getting a say. Rolling Rock would say, these tunnels looks like they were maneuvered by magic to be shut. So whoever did this must be able to shape Earth like I can. And he says, "Looks like there's too much earth here for me to make a dent, but especially if I wanted to be quiet about it." He says as he gestures back to the mage hunter.
Yeah.
And then Uther says the thing he said about the hunting tools. Rolling Rock will kind of keep towards the back. He says, "I'm going to keep an eye on that," gesturing towards the mage hunter. And you see him kind of just quietly cast Shillelagh on the Stein of Obadiah.
Also, out of character, for everybody's note, we do have now one miner's kit and one woodcutter's kit.
I also grabbed the brewer's kit.
We got extra kits.
Cool.
I've had an alchemist kit. I don't know what we need to carry the extra weight, but
Inside of this space, it looks like just more storage space. This storage space is a little bit more confusing because you do see what looks like a hammock kind of hanging on this pole here and kind of connected. It's not connected to this pole here. It looks like it would be if it was hung up. It would kind of connect between the two, and you'd be sleeping about where Ezekiel's standing. That said, this storage space looks a bit strange. Looking at it, it looks like it's just a bunch of furniture that's been kind of placed. There's a couple wagon wheels, but not like for a massive wagon, possibly like a gnomish wagon, and so on.
Okay. I'll let the party know that there's a hammock here in case anybody wants to take a hammock. And then,
hell yes.
I'll wait and well, judging just from my line of sight, I can kind of see something like
That way,
up here. Yeah, so I'm gonna go.
it looks like more
this
junk
way.
kind of placed here. It looks like this is actually kind of a sitting area or like a counting area. It looks like some of the pieces that are placed here look like they have some kind of archaic importance, but most of it looks like it would be too hard to kind of maneuver out of here, with the exception of three things. On this little placement here, there is a beautifully made katana that is settled on a rack. It appears that the blade has been placed in the kind of upwards position. So like the blade is up. This is historically significant, but not.
Symbolizing the war.
No,
Isn't that a wartime thing?
wartime
or
is
peacetime?
blade down.
Okay,
Yeah.
I got it confused.
If you leave it on the blade down during peacetime, that means you're dulling the blade, but it's ready for striking. So yeah, but good call. And then the other item that would be kind of of note, there are three pieces of greenish looking metal on this table. And they're pretty decent sized for Ezekiel. If you kind of walk over to it and pick it up, they're a lot heavier than you expected.
Okay. I'm gonna definitely grab the katana.
And do you have metalworking?
I have smith tools.
Okay, cool. Make a Smith's Tools check with intelligence as the ability.
Ooh.
This metal is
Plus
unfamiliar.
zero.
This metal is very unfamiliar to you. It's definitely something beyond you, and you would need some time with it to figure it out.
Okay.
Do you want to take them?
Yeah.
It's about 20 pounds worth of the metal, so 20 pounds of mysterious green metal. But it comes in 3 chunks, so you can kind of parry it out to how you want. There's like 1/7, there's 1/8, and then whatever's left over.
Are there any food rations about?
Yeah,
Usable food rations?
yeah, plenty of food to kind of like look around in. If you want to replenish rations, you can get as much as you can carry. It looks like they're the first storage space that you looked in, where
I know there was porridge, but I'm not counting on that.
the scratching room that looked like it had like a kind of like it was like half larder, half storage. That was the main place where food would be found.
I'm just topping off
Absolutely fine.
as we move.
Okay. After I grab the katana and the metal, there's nothing else that looks like it would be usable.
Everything else looks super heavy, like an absolutely unmovable. Like there's a statue. There's a massive like block of red metal, which is a lot heavier than the one that you just got. There's a huge dwarvish looking gear, or gnomish, you're not sure. And another one there. There's a iron barrel. There is a massive, it almost looks like a sarcophagus, and some furniture.
Okay. And then let's see here. going to.
Bodhi, as you kind of come around here, this room looks like it's more of storage. Looks like more like just junk. But there are two large bolts of very, very nice looking cloth.
Ooh.
It looks like the cloth in question is probably of an Ikashadi origin, which Jernaris is kind of on the southern portion of the province on its western side. Directly north of you is another province called Ikashad. And they are also very magically inclined like the Jernaran people, but they're also very isolationist, so they don't really like...
This is a rare find
yeah, definitely.
to have trade from there.
It's not going to be cheap stuff. Yeah, it looks like one of the bolts is silk, and the other bolt looks like it's a very nice blue, ultramarine blue linen, which is a very rare pigment for cloth fabrics in this region.
I don't know that I have the means to take such a thing.
They
look
each
heavy
weigh
and large.
50 pounds, yeah.
Me without a bag of holding.
Yeah. We'll have to work on that. But everything else looks like it's kind of
I will write that down that this is here.
neat stuff there. But yeah, do you want to continue moving on around? And Nyx, you're checking out this chamber we'd already discussed, kind of like a weird storage space with like a yeah, okay, cool. Ezekiel, you would note that this kind of winds to a point where you start hearing scratching again from this wall. And if you make your way back around, you'll realize you've gone a full circuit. And
Okay.
Nyx, you kind of follow after Ezekiel, you kind of get the same vibe. Yep. And go ahead.
With the katana, is it like, do I feel like I could use it proficiently?
If you pick it up and check it, yeah, you could use a katana proficiently. So just so you know how katana works, everybody, it is a longsword with a finesse trait.
Okay. I wasn't sure. I added it on there to make sure I could use it. Do I get like this feeling I do from my other sword, or
It's-
does it feel like just a regular sword?
Feels pretty regular.
Okay.
It's a cool find.
Hey, never hurts to have two backup swords.
Is it like ceremonial? Does it look
It
fancy? Does it look like a?
It does look very ceremonial, like it's not built for combat, it's built for show.
That's a money sword right there.
Hey,
Yeah, so you go into this chamber here, and it looks like a bunch of musical instruments, all different types of things. There's a table with a number of different bells on it. There's a large chest, almost looks like a sarcophagus.
Not falling for that.
Yeah.
I'm not touching those bells.
No worries. That's fine. There's just a bunch of musical instruments in here. There's a trumpet. There's some other kind of strange...
Whose basement is this?
Very great question. Very great question. Do you want to continue on?
I mean, I'm gonna pocket something from here. They have like a harmonica or something small, something sporty.
Yeah, absolutely. Like a whistle. Or a flute, like a small flute.
I already have a pan flute, but if they have something similar, yeah, I'll nab it.
Okay. There's, in this room, Ezekiel, that you've entered into, a number of different weapons. There's a book, which you would note is the Book of Armaments, which is a very traditional religious text amongst worshippers of Ashtar. Basically, it refers to, in historical fashion, weapons that are used in the Eternal War between good and evil in the Astral Sea. It serves as a lore tome for the purposes of identifying the martial capabilities of Celestials and Fiends, if you want to take it.
I'd definitely take that.
Yeah, and then there's a massive barrel of what appears to be beer.
Looking at the weapons, any of them look
magic.
like my party members could use them
No magic.
if they're missing anything.
There's a halberd. There's the shield I mentioned. Looks like there are a couple of kopeshes. It looks like a bunch of weapons that have just been kind of put in there haphazardly. None of them look like they come from anywhere in particular. It just looks like they're all here, like a collection almost.
It's serviceable weapons.
Yeah, they're serviceable, but they're not like ornate or anything crazy.
Sure.
Yeah.
Not like the
I
katana.
don't know that. Right. I don't
Is
know that we
the-
need any.
I was gonna say I don't think any of the party can
I
use a
was
shield.
really the only thing I'm on the lookout as far as weapons is making sure we have some arrows.
Silas, you come and you see that there is another tunnelway. This tunnelway is also barred off, and it looks like there are a lot of claw marks, possibly from one of the creatures in this space. It looks like the room that you're in is just filled to the brim with tools as well. The tools in question here look like they're glass blowers tools. And as you're kind of moving and Rolling Rock eventually finally catches up with you, he seems to be very distracted by everything and kind of quietly going through everything and looking at it. It doesn't look like he's picking up anything. The thing that definitely interests him the most is there's a suit of armor in the corner made entirely out of glass.
Sorry.
There's a suit of armor, full plate armor, made entirely out of glass.
Sounds cool. Huh.
All right.
How would that even work?
Does your smithing tell you anything about? Or oh fuck,
He's a glass blower. He's a glass blower.
yeah.
Yeah, he's looking at it very interestedly. He's not saying anything about it. He's just kind of like really intrigued. Like he seems to be. If you ask him,
Why?
he says, "I'm admiring. It's totally useless, but I'm admiring craftsmanship. At least I think it's totally useless. Maybe there's some sort of spell or magic that I'm not aware of." Silas, as you kind of walk this way, you do hear scratching coming from here. It does sound like there is something kind of this way.
I would give a hand gesture saying that there's something that way.
If you want, you can make a stealth check to try and move south instead of moving directly into its path, because it does look like there's more.
Buddy, I am not a stealthy person.
Give it a
I'm
shot.
barbarian.
Give it a shot.
I passed mine.
I'll cast. You know what? I'll if he seems worried, I'll
15
cast.
is the best stealth check we've
15's
had so far.
15's amazing.
So you see that
don't need no.
There's a fork. It sounds like the creature is kind of over this way, so it looks like you can kind of head south without issue. If you want to go by, you see that there is a ladder that goes upstairs, and it looks like there is a passageway into a bedroom. The bedroom in question looks like it is very neat, very untouched. Looks like there's a meal that's actually sitting out on the table that has kind of gone bad. Looks like it's probably been here based on your food knowledge, maybe a couple of days. If you want a precise number of days, you can make a cook's utensils check with intelligence.
Okay, cook's utensils check?
Yeah, so if you go to your tools and you click the cook's utensils, it'll ask you what attribute you want to use. You'd select intelligence, and then you'd make an intelligence cook's utensils roll.
7.
It's definitely been a couple of days. You're not sure exactly how far. It's gross looking. It might have been good.
Can't stand to be around it. He can't think straight.
The other thing that's kind of interesting to you is there's a warmth to this place, for you especially, that's kind of like a, ooh, nice. Because you've been in this cold cave this whole time and you're warm-blooded. The fireplace... Cold-blooded. I said the other... Yeah. The fireplace is still going.
Where are all the torches?
Do you go check the fireplace?
Yeah,
It's
I'd want to
burning.
search the room a little bit while I'm in there.
Okay. If you immediately go over to the fireplace, you would see that there are runes kind of drawn into the hearth and all about the mantle. And settled inside of the place where you'd expect a bunch of logs and a fire to be, you see a small boy-like creature sitting in kind of like the cross-legged.
Cross applesauce.
Yeah, crisscross applesauce with wings on its back. It's probably about half the size of Nyx.
I would squat down and kind of give it a look and a smile and say, hello there.
Kind of blinks at you.
I would ask, what are you doing here?
It sounds
Are you
like
making noise?
it
Oh, okay.
it sounds like a fire, and it makes fire sounds at you.
I
Which,
would like to...
Make an intelligence check. Conglomerate
16.
operative primer. You can understand that it is speaking a language. You understand that that's the case, but you know it's a language you don't speak. Based on the fact that it's an elemental, your knowledge of just operative teaching tells you that this is probably an elemental speaking primordial.
I guess who speaks primordial?
Perfection.
Right here.
Nyx
I'm
pops
going
in.
to...
What were you just saying?
I thought I heard someone talking.
It says...
I will,
Go ahead, Jody.
I want to rip a piece off my torch, like a piece of wood off it, and kind of feed it to it, give it to him.
It reaches up. Its hand kind of grows slightly bigger to take a hold of the torch, and then it kind of just starts.
And then
And then-
I'll let them talk.
It looks over to the Dromite and says, "I was saying I didn't understand him."
Yeah, he can be hard to understand.
Oh,
What do you-
wow! You speak similar to the queen of the Dromites. You have a certain accent to you, do you not?
Well, she is one of my kind.
Oh, I apologize for the way that might have sounded. I'm sorry. I've been locked in this basement for damn near 100 years.
Oh
I
no,
like
no,
that
no,
we're
no!
just hearing bellows sounds.
You're being extremely
What the
polite.
hell?
Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm great. I get fed quite well. My master seems to have gone missing. It's been about 4 moons, I think.
Who is your master?
Small gnome. His name was Brent Bright.
Brent Bright. Was he a good master?
He was great. Him and his friends were very, very cordial and very nice. He would sometimes read me stories, and I would sometimes tell him stories of my homeworld. And, well, we got along just well enough. And this place, though it does look cramped, is quite nice compared to where I am from. Other fires do so desire to consume smaller ones.
Ah, I see. What was Brent Bright doing with here?
Oh, he runs a shop upstairs. I occasionally get taken up there when it's colder during the winter months.
Oh, I saw the flasks. Does he make something?
Oh, well, yes, he sells wares to travelers in the area.
Ah, okay. Well, when we came through, things were rather empty.
Yeah, ever since those things that keep scratching around were moving about, I haven't seen Brent Bright or any of the others.
Ah, the ones with the tentacles?
I don't know anything about any tentacles. I think they have like
Bugs.
blades for hands.
Ah, Blade,
Amazing.
this is a dangerous place, isn't it?
Not usually. Typically we have well, a peaceful enough time, I suppose. I think Carr and Crux are really good at keeping defense of the of Hound Hill.
Carr? Crux? Who are they?
Oh, the Andervan boys. They well, they were taken in by Brent Bright and also Riley, and they've been helping out around here.
So Riley is a gnome as well, but Carl and Crux are not?
Oh, Riley's a halfling.
Ah,
She well, she's half gnome on her mother's side.
and Carr and Crux?
They're half orcs.
Ah,
No gnomes about it.
okay. Yeah, Nix chuckles and says, I get you. Good, good.
Yeah, according to Brent Bright in his stories, he said that their great-great-great-grandfather was a noble hero who fought at the Battle of Hilton.
Ah, would Nix know that it was Gilbert Kergosler?
No, it's not Gilbert Kergos.
Oh, not Gisler. Oh, who was it?
Make a history check.
Shit. It's rats. Sorry, Kevin. Make a history check. And don't I have a thing where I add my proficiency bonus?
Well, if you don't have history trained, then you just add half your proficiency bonus. That should already be added in, though.
Okay, for fud's sakes.
Okay.
It was not added in, actually, because I have a +2 proficiency and +1 was not added. But I got a critical, I got a 1, I got a fumble.
Okay. Well, you can't automatically fail on skill checks, but
I
yeah.
fail.
No, you've never heard of the Battle of Hilton. That doesn't sound familiar. The name Hilton as a town name does sound very much the paradigm of like Parnack naming convention, but beyond that, you have no idea.
Hmm.
And he says, yeah, they're 2 strapping lads. One of them is a hunter, and the other one is spiritualist. you see that like the word he uses is the only word that that Ezekiel kind of catch on to, because when he says spiritualist, he's speaking burning, but it sounds like he's trying to speak the word in common. So it's like, and then next, and then the fire thing, spiritualist.
Okay.
If you could just go upstairs and check on them, and see if they're okay, that would be great.
Is there anything I can do to help you?
Well, if you can kill those scratchy creatures, I don't know what they are, but they definitely seem to be changing the way everyone's been operating. No one's come down here for days.
Okay. We'll do our best. I'm going to just go over to the rest of the party and take a minute to just sort of summarize and see if they have any additional questions for him that I'm not thinking of.
Okay. Bodhi, you look like you were kind of wondering. Did you want to go this way? This is the way that the scratching came from.
Oh, I was just trying to figure out where everybody went.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
I'll peek. I'll peek down there. Oh no, never mind. I'm going over.
If you want to peek, you can. I'm sorry, I moved you. But yeah, it looks like there's more hay that's been thrown about all over the floor, and the scratching sound seems to be coming from the opposite side of the wall that you're near.
Why would it be scratching if there's an open? Unless it's pinned up. Nope, not risking it. We're sneaking past. We're just moving past. Hey guys, what's up? We're talking to fire. That's cool.
Do the ruins saying anything?
The runes on the ground appear to be just runes of binding.
Okay.
Kind of binding the elemental to that spade.
All right. Whenever Nix is telling us the story, is there anything that like pops out to any of us?
If you have history trained, you can make a history check regarding the Andervan last name and the Battle of Hilton.
Is the rest of the party is
Sounds like nobody.
nobody?
I'm sorry.
I don't think we have anyone
again?
with history or religion.
Yeah.
No. I mean, I could do the checks with it, you know.
You already made a history.
Yeah, you
check.
already did it.
So there is a ladder that seems to go upwards, and it goes up about 10 feet, and then it looks like there's a like heavy wooden trapdoor on this in the ceiling, like another 2 feet up, and then it's like this kind of like the container for the trapdoor, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I'll if we're gonna go up and check on them, I'll go first and see if I
I'm
can
gonna
lift
cast
the trap door.
guidance on you before you leave.
Who's going up?
I will, Ezekiel.
Could I also cast do Blade Ward on him?
Blade ward for yourself.
Oh, that's for yourself. Okay, I will learn this. Sorry.
No worries. So you make your way up, Ezekiel. As you kind of touch the trapdoor, it does feel like it is loose, like openable. But it does feel like there's something heavy on top of it. Go ahead and make a strength athletics check if you're wanting to force the door.
And guidance, so I roll a d4.
Okay. You're able to kind of lift it up a bit, and you hear a, oh, what's happening? And then you hear a kind of like a sound of like weapons kind of being brandished. It doesn't sound like swords, maybe like a warhammer or something.
As soon as I hear that, I'm like, I come in peace. I just found this tunnel by accident.
So-
I'm trying to.
The way I'm imagining it is, and just so you have,
Bark.
so you have a scale of it, you open it just enough with that athletics check to kind of get your snoot like in face kind of visible, and you're looking out, and you can see that you're kind of at ground level. You're looking at the backside of like a shelf or like some sort of like bar or something, like a counter.
Yeah.
And around the counter, just barely, you can see the shadow of a humanoid figure. The humanoid figure has a warhammer in hand, kind of has like an angry look in his eyes, kind of staring down at you, and it's just like a maddened look. This gentleman looks like this the second you see him.
I have already told them about Carr and Crux and all that, so might not be too much of a surprise.
Yeah, I'll holler with that knowledge. Like, is this Car or Crux? The little flame spirit thing down here asked us to come check on you guys because you ain't been down here in a while.
Huh. Hey, Crux, Melon's still alive. They didn't eat it.
Melon.
Who the fuck are you?
My name is Ezekiel. I actually was exploring a different cave that led directly to this cave via a tunnel with a very large tentacly rock monster thing.
That's probably where the mage hunters came from. Hurry up, get up here. Did you kill them? You didn't kill them, did you?
No,
Of course not.
no, we didn't wake them up. I have 3 mages in my party, and I can't protect 3 people by myself.
He says, of course not. Like, you know, he expected, like, at first was like, I hope he's a hero, and then you weren't. And
It's like
he
all
was,
losers.
he was saddened by it. So as you kind of all make your way up, bear with me here as I capture you all and move you to the next place. You would see that you're entering into a pretty small little, quaint little, just place. It's just adorable. You can see that it is a shop of some sort. The walls appear to be made out of stone.
Real quick, out of character. Hey, we stole shit from their basement. Heads up.
More
Be
than
ready for that conversation.
more than fair. So as you kind of all fill into the chamber, you would see that the 2 people who are present in there with you are 2 half-orcs. The one that I've already shown you, who kind of in the initial introductions, Rosigo said, "Are you Car or Crux?" And he would have said, "I'm Car." So that leaves that the other one would be Crux. Crux appears to be wearing kind of pelts, a couple of potions on his belt. It looks like he has brandished a spear in the midst of the exchange. Looks like he has a very ornate tattoo on his left forearm. A couple of scratches here and there. Looks like he's seen some pretty wild battles, conflicts. Based on his age, he looks like he's probably somewhere in his 30s, maybe 40s. Carr looks like a bit younger, lighter skinned, and it looks like he might be less than like a true demi orc. It also looks like he might have some elvish in him. The 2 of them kind of look at you suspiciously, and as you kind of come up, and after the introductions are made, you didn't kill the mage hunters.
Yeah, we saw one sleeping on a bale of hay,
Me?
and we heard some snickering across the wall, but they didn't hear us.
Melod was fine though, right?
The little fire spirit.
That's right.
Yeah, he seemed fine. He talked to my buddy over there, and I'll point to Nick.
Oh wow, a dromite! As you kind of come from behind everybody, that's the Crux who said that. He kind of walks over to you, and then in Primordial says, "He wasn't too much trouble, was he?"
Oh no, he was very polite. He's concerned about you. Hasn't seen you in days, he said.
Well, that's good. Well, we should get him up here if we can. Were there any near the bedroom? He says in common.
We
And by
heard some
that-
snickering close, but nothing like super near the bedroom. Like I could probably sneak down and grab him if I had a way to do it.
Crux kind of looks over, grabs an iron jar, and walks over to you and hands it to you. Melod will know what to do. Just get that to him.
Okay, I'll sneak back down to try to do that for him.
Go ahead and make a stealth check.
19.
More than fair. You get down there, Melod's like, "Oh, great, cool!" Dives into the iron jar, and you can see like there's a little bit of fire kind of like emanating from the top and smoke kind of emanating out of it. The jar feels a little warmer now, and then he goes, "Oh, wait, hold on a second." And then it feels a little bit cooler to the touch, so it's not scalding your hands when you take hold of it and you rush upstairs with the iron jar.
Can't understand him.
You kind of like catch it, climb up the ladder, and then like slip it up there, and they kind of rescue him, putting him up on the counter, and he seems to kind of just sit inside of the iron pot, kind of just a little bit of his face kind of peeking out the top now. As you're down there, Crux and Carr kind of look to the rest of the group. Are any of you sporting conglomerate markings? Do you have icons of the conglomerate on you?
I probably am.
Okay. Your conglomerate operatives?
Yes, sir. Long as I can remember.
Wow. How'd you get out of the city?
It's privileged information. Frankly, I don't mean to be rude.
No, that's more than fair. Sure. We're conglomerate loyalists. I mean, we're, happy with.
Who do you serve under?
Well, we're not in the conglomerate. We just
Reservists? What do we
no,
get
no, no,
going
no.
on?
We just like them.
Oh,
Our friend, what? You didn't see him down there, did you?
the only things I saw down there would have eaten me if they saw me.
They probably came for him. Carr says, "I'm telling you, they got it. Okay, just let
Is
him."
that the gnome?
Brent Bright, yeah.
Yeah, is it Mellet? He spoke of him. We didn't see any gnomes there.
But again, I guess he could have probably hidden one of those, that hole behind the mage hunter
That's true.
that we couldn't get to.
Krusk kind of shakes his head. The druid, who appeared to be a little bit more optimistic, is kind of shaking his head. He says, "No, Carr's right. It's undoubted that the mage hunters were capable of gobbling our little friend up. He was a bit long in the tooth, and not exactly quick on his feet. I was out in the woods. When we came back, we learned that they were occupying our basement. I was able to close Hound Hill to them, thanks to the spirits. And Carr was able to fight them back enough to close off the door and shut them down there. They gave up after a couple of wallops. And we've been able to kind of live up here well enough. We sent Riley out to go and see if she can't get any help from Ancrag.
How long ago did these arrive here?
4 days.
Do you know how many of them are about the area? I'm sure I heard at least 3.
Carr kind of looks over to Krusk. 3's about what I counted too. Krusk kind of says, "Sounds about right."
I don't suppose there was any treachery involved. They seemed wild. Oftentimes these things are trained for this sort of operation.
We know that there are quite a few denizens of the mountain road and the area about that are being spurred into action up to the surface. So it's been a recent problem we've been having. So I'm not unsurprised.
I'll give him the general idea of where we came from through the mountain and try to gather where we are in relation to that. If they could help us out geographically.
Were you able to get to the mountain shrine and speak with the druids there? It's been a while since I've been able to make the trek myself.
We haven't, but on it, I'm gonna be straight honest with you, dude. There's a dragon back that way, so I don't know how well the druids would fare if they friended him or not.
A dragon?
Yeah,
We've
he's
been very
a pretty young
lucky in our
dragon.
travels.
The only dragon in the area is... you see Carr kind of just out and about, wild?
It looked like it was chained up by some dwarves to protect the tunnels that we came through.
Chained up by some dwarves.
Yeah, it's pretty ornate craftsmanship, so
Red dragon.
dwarvish.
Very old.
Crust kind of that can't
It'd be young. It'd be a young red dragon because they look like they probably raised him and fed him.
No, I think he was older, man.
That can't
Out
be
of character.
true. Crust says, if what you speak is earnest, Eguson, the dragon known as the Red Comet of Ancrag, was an ally of the Ancrag dwarves. I don't think there are many I can consider that would have been able to bind it, outside of the most powerful conglomerate mages.
Well, those that bound it didn't do it necessarily permanently.
It kind of broke through
He's
the bounds and killed everybody there. He was very angry. Like, he came back to get the bodies. He was so mad at it.
Carr looks over to Crust, kind of as something seems to kind of wash over his mind. Riley's still out there. Even in the lowlands, if there's a dragon flying about, I'd have no trouble seeing her bright red hair. She's small, she's quick, and she's quiet, but dragon sight is beyond that. Crust says, She's fine. I assure you she's fine. Carr kind of angrily, just like Brent Bright is fine? Cross kind of says, I apologize, operatives of the conglomerate. I have nothing I can offer you. If you took anything from below, we wouldn't have been able to acquire it without your assistance. If you can help us in this, I really don't know what else I can offer you. He kind of looks over to Ezekiel and says, that should serve as a fine gift. He kind of gestures towards the katana at your back.
What do you propose?
If you want, you can rest here for a time, and then perhaps descend back into the basement to deal with those creatures. If you were able to do this, then we could gain access to our basement. There's a sending stone down there that Brent Bright had, and Riley has the other one. We might be able to talk to her.
There was a couple things we didn't get to check out, so maybe he hid. If he can hide in that green chest thing down there, I don't know how long he would survive in it.
I doubt he's alive, man.
We couldn't. I'm just trying to, we didn't see a body. Is all I'm saying. Like we
These
didn't
guys
find a
don't seem
body
the type
or
to
bones.
appreciate optimism.
You see Crest kind of go, he could have stored himself in the refrigerator. And then Carr says, not for 4 days. Well, I mean, there's plenty of food in there, maybe.
I didn't even know that was a refrigerator.
Oh, yes, of course. We got a mage lock on it. Brent Bright ordered one from Penford a couple of years ago because Riley kept stealing the food. Carr saying this, and Crust says, "You're gonna lie to them to their face? It was you that was stealing the food and blamed it on Riley. That's why I put the mage
We don't
lock
have a
in."
stake in this.
It looks like these two brothers seem to argue amidst themselves a couple of times throughout the dialogue. But then they kind of turn to look to you and say, if you can go down there and destroy those creatures, we will be most grateful. You can keep the sword. It was a gift from a wandering merchant who was a dear friend of Brent Bright's, Kenji Atomo or something.
Huh.
All right. Yeah, I'd say
Not Hittori, though, right?
full arresting might be able to.
No. Kenji
Okay.
Hattori? No.
Yeah, it's just a made-up
He's
name.
the-
No one
he's
ever
the-
heard of that.
He's the greatest duelist in all the lands.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll just talk about that another day. Before we get some rest in, is there anything you could tell us about those creatures in your basement would be beneficial?
Well,
If we're going to help you, we need to arm ourselves with information.
if they are family, they can speak to one another through telepathic means. They can see beyond sight. They typically can see mages or people who can cast spells even brighter. And they're vicious. They are very vicious. He kind of gestures to the wounds on his arms that are a bit more fresh looking, or like they've been kind of, they're not as long as the other ones, which makes you assume that that's how he got them.
If a mage were to stand against such a creature,
The main thing is,
what would you anticipate?
The main thing is that they know where you're at and they can consume magic.
Then that could be an issue for us. We all use magic.
He looks at you. Like spells, not your sword.
No. We all use magic.
Oh,
So
well, you are conglomerate specialists. I assume you have to have some training as to how to deal with these creatures. They're not uncommon.
Yeah, you just roll them over on their back.
Silence.
They're basically docile after that.
Silas goes up to the table.
You actually
And-
see Carr's face like tighten up even further, and Crust kind of goes, "Ha!" The druid's like, "Ha!" Go ahead, sorry, Silas.
It's okay. I'll not do it. Never mind.
If you wish to rest here, you can, and then make your way down. Hopefully Riley will be back before you descend down, and maybe she has good news and something that can aid us in this matter.
Where would this sending stone be?
If I remember correctly, it was in his music room on the northern side of the basement. The
Big piano
big
next to
piano.
a pen full of hay.
Yes, Riley's music room was a little bit more of a mess. She never really. She. By speaking of her in the past tense, she's not dead. Carr says,
He's not.
and Crust says, it should be to the north, near the piano, not too far.
Yeah, it makes sense.
And with that, we will go ahead and end the session out. Thank you for watching those that did, and we will see you next Sunday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Ciao.
Bye.